Great opportunity again this week. November is here, and we're off to a good start, and got an opportunity to have a great finish. It's a heck of a football team coming in. Doesn't get easier. This is another elite quarterback, and I mean, this guy's going to play. This guy's going to play football for a long time. If good Lord keeps him healthy, he's going to play a long time. And so it's one of those cool opportunities to play against one of the best. He's a great one, and makes everybody. They got a lot of good players, but he's one of them guys that, he makes the coaches better. He makes the fans better. He makes the popcorn taste better. Everything's better when you got a dude like that, under center. So great player, and a great matchup. They've had a heck of a year. They're coming off a big win. We're coming off a big win. So both teams will want the same thing. So we've got to have a great week of preparation. Off to a good start last night. Love Mac Brown. Y'all know that he's a great friend, and someone that I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for, and always tough to compete against his teams. They're always well coached. And again, it starts with their offense. I mean, they're third in the country. So last week, I think that bunch was 14th in the country, and here we go. They're third in the country, about 500 something yards a game, and just do a great job with their all their schemes. Run a lot of zone, a lot of swap zone stuff, and million RPOs and play action game. And again, you got a quarterback that. He's just back there having fun. He's got some toys to play with. I think this is probably as good a back as we've seen. He's elite. I mean, leads the league in rushing. I think he's second in the nation. I mean, he's elite. Tight end, that's a great player. They got them receivers out there. Obviously number 9 is a guy that everybody talks about, and as they should. But man, them other guys are good too. I mean, they got some guys that with a lot of experience that have made a lot of plays. They've spread the ball out. It's pretty well distributed all across the board. The running back's very involved in the run game. A lot of screens. So it's just a well coordinated deal. Very balanced, and they've only turned it over 8 times all year long. So they've done a good job taking care of the football, and got an experienced group up front. But tempo and trying to manage the tempo and trying to affect this quarterback obviously is the biggest challenge.
Welcome. This is Wednesday Night Hog Talk, and you just heard from Clemson head coach DABO Sweeney. That was from Tuesday. Jason, he has seen the praises of this North Carolina team that comes rolling into Death Valley on Saturday. I mean, Tez Walker, he was held down by the NCAA for the first part of the season, and then, finally was cleared, was it 3 or 4 weeks ago? And, has done nothing to disappoint. Drake May, was a Heisman finalist last year. And, the ACC preseason player of the year. I mean, this is a dangerous team. But, are you buying what Dow is selling?
This is a dangerous North Carolina team. Make no mistake, that offense is explosive. They got a veteran quarterback. That running back's really good. You talked about Tez Walker. He's been back 5 games now, is what it is. Mm-hmm. 3 of those he's gone over 100 yards. So he's a big part of the things they're doing. since I'm buying it a little bit, he might be. They got one of the best offenses in the country, over 500 yards a game. They rush for over 150 a game. I mean, there's a lot of things I like about that offense. But for me, it's that defense. They're not very good on defense. They allow over 150 yards per game. They give up close to 500 yards per game in total offense. So this is a defense this Clemson offense should have some success against. And we've seen how good that Clemson defense has been, particularly in recent weeks. They've made life a living hell for Sam Hartman. Did it in James King last week, and you got to think that's going to be the objective again with Drake May on deck this weekend. And I think they can do it. We've seen them do it before. Now, I know North Carolina moved the ball a little bit against them last year, but struggled in the red zone, struggled. Clemson won the turnover margin. But I think this Clemson defense is good enough to make him uncomfortable and not let him, sit back there in that pocket and have all day to throw the ball and pick them apart. And I think they are disciplined enough to where they will not allow him to consistently get on the edge and beat them with his legs.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I think this game comes down to, how Nate Wiggins can cover Tez Walker. I think this is a, money game for him in his draft stock. This is a game that could, skyrocket him of the draft orders if he is able to contain, Tez Walker. Like I just said, though, is contain him because you aren't going to shut a guy like him down. And also, he didn't really mention it a ton. They have some tight ends that can catch the ball and are dangerous mismatch chances for that offense. And I think, Carter and Trotter are going to have huge games for the Tigers. But, it all starts up front. And if they can, be disruptive with that front four like they have been, I think that the Tigers will have a lot of success against this North Carolina team.
Yeah, I agree. I think it starts with Clemson on the line of scrimmage on that defensive line, and them being disruptive. Absolutely. And I am, that Nate Wiggins, Tez Walker matchup might be the thing I'm looking forward to the most Saturday. Um, that Clemson was hoping he'd just contain Keon Coleman. Yeah, he goes in and he locks him down, man. Coleman doesn't do anything against Wiggins all day long. Matter of fact, it wasn't until Wiggins got hurt that Coleman finally hurt him. It's hard to ask for that kind of a performance again against Tez Walker. Like you said, you need him to contain him, and I think Wiggins is absolutely capable of doing it. He through the first half of the season, he had like a 2.8 passer rating against him. 2.8. I haven't seen the number, but I doubt it's much higher over the second half of the season. I think people have come to a point where they expect perfection out of these defensive backs. They're going to get beat from time to time, but you got to have that windshield mentality to be able to flush. And I think Wiggins has shown the capability of being able to do that. I think he's absolutely capable of getting the better of Tez Walker on Saturday.
So you're not thinking that he just plays good. You're thinking he outplays him on Saturday.
I think he outplays Tez Walker on Saturday. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I'm with you. I think this is a big game for Nate as an individual, not just just looking past the team aspect of things. Because I would be shocked if Nate Wiggins is back next year. I absolutely expect him to head off to the NFL after this season, and deservedly so. He's very likely looking at being a late first round pick, maybe. If not, probably it'll be probably an early second round. He's one of the top corners in the country, and having another game like he did against Keon Coleman, or even just something similar to that, is going to just help his draft stock tremendously. He starts seeing his name in these mocks in that first round, probably a lot more often than he already is.
Oh yeah, and Nate is the kind of guy that at least from our vantage, playing and seeing what we see, I think he thrives on this. I think he loves, in these, you big time receivers coming into his house, and he has to hear all week long, hey, how great this receiver is, how great this QB is. I think he thrives on that. I think he loves it, and he is a guy. He reminds me a lot of Mackenzie Alexander. How he thrived on the chip on his shoulder, and he loved it, and he wanted the U.S. guy on the field. So I think there has been a lot of talk this offseason about Clemson not having the dogs. I think he is 100% a pure, you child dog.
Yeah, I do too, man. He's one of those dudes. And it's been fun to kind of watch him grow since that Wake Forest game last year, right? When he just got absolutely torched. And he's kind of just kicked it up a notch since then and continuously grown and gotten better. And it's kind of culminated this season. Again, I'm with you. I think he thrives on this kind of matchup. I think he looks forward to it. I think he welcomes it. And I think he rises to the challenge on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, if he can, it is going to be a huge benefit for the Tigers. As we continue the show, I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, please subscribe. As you can see here, 37% of you are subscribed. So that means, almost 63% of the folks watching this show are not subscribed. So do us a huge favor, it is completely free. And honestly, if you subscribe, it guarantees Clemson winning. So I why would you want to help the Tigers out?
Do all you can do.
That's
Do
true.
your part too.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's kind of like the old G.I. Joe, be all you can be. What was the old G.I. Joe cartoon? Their little thing they had.
I wasn't a big GI Joe guy, so I don't know.
Yeah, you're a G.I. Jane guy.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right, yes, sir.
Give me the ladies.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, you're one of those guys that say the Boy Scouts wouldn't have me, but the Girl Scouts love me.
That's right, man. I got picked on, man, for going to a New Kids on the Block concert when I was a teenager because my sister was in love with them, right? People don't realize I got there, man, and me and my buddy was the only two males in the building. Only two males in the building, man. It was just like being in paradise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a shame half of the people out here watching the show don't have a damn clue who New Kids on the Block. I mean,
I remember my sister had posters of them dudes all over her walls, man, and she got tickets for, I don't know, Christmas or her birthday or something. And she was a little younger than me, and my mom had to take her, so I ended up going with my mom and one of my buddies. It was at old Coliseum in Charlotte.
uh-huh.
Telling you, I swear, I think we was the only two dudes in the building.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So, see, look, all y'all think Jason's just some redneck we have, on staff, trying to diversify our you know site. He is a smart guy. See there, you can learn a lot from him, gentlemen.
Hey man,
Kurt,
that was one of the best nights of high school.
yeah, because you were singing those songs at the top of your lungs.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Curse gets in and says Clemson will have the best secondary in the country for many years to come. I mean, honestly, with what you have seen out of these young guys, Sheldon Lewis, Avion, and Terrell, I mean, hell, you know, it's hard to argue that. I mean, I think as long as Dow can keep Mike Reed around, coaching those guys up, I think he has a great point. And I mean, you have a secondary that can shut teams down, and you have those dogs that can eliminate an entire side of the field. I think that only makes life easier on your offense.
Man, those freshmen, they are dogs, man. Terrell, Lewis, throw Khalil Barnes in there. Those guys are good, and they've got some we still haven't seen a lot of yet that I think have high ceilings too, man. I think the future is extremely bright for the back end of that defense, and as you touched on, as long as Mike Reed's there, I think Clemson's secondary is gonna be fine. I think Mickey Kahn's a pretty good safeties coach too. I think he catches a lot more flack sometimes than he deserves. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, I agree. I think the future is extremely bright. I mean, those freshmen are so good, man. We didn't even see Toriano Bride Saturday. I
Mhm.
think that's the second game in a row he didn't play a snap. And the last time we saw him playing substantial playing time was Wake Forest. And he's probably playing the best game of his career, right? And
Mhm.
now here we are 3, 4 weeks later, and Lewis and Terrell have just kind of passed him by. Um,
Yeah, it's just like he's an afterthought.
and that's not a knock on him. That's just how good those guys have been.
Yeah, I mean, Dow was asked, why Terrell, and Lewis got the start on Saturday, and he said, it was Mike Reed's decision just to roll with those guys. And honestly, Reed looks like a damn genius for doing that. I mean, you had first rushing, you know, intercept four passes. That is a damn fine job.
Yeah, you're not gonna. It's hard to get better than that. Those guys were, you watch those guys in coverage Saturday. Man, they were good. They were just blanketing those receivers, and that's the Georgia Tech offense. I'm not calling Georgia Tech elite by any stretch, man, but that's a team that's just been finding ways to win. A lot of weeks. They've been very competitive, and they weren't very competitive at all Saturday. Clemson made them look rather pedestrian.
Yeah, and they cover guys without coming up with PIs.
Yep, that is another thing. You're not seeing them getting flagged for penalties like we've seen some here in recent years.
Yeah. Let's see. I can't even I don't even know where to start. But we'll talk you off the ledge. All right. Dowsing is not going to Texas A&M.
No, no, man.
I'm
Dabo
uh,
Swinney's never going anywhere where the boosters have that much power,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Too
I
many, too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah, he would be a dumbass if he left Clemson, or he can ask for streets of gold here, and the trustees and president and everyone will try to do it. Also, he's not going to leave his his creation at Clemson to go take over that dumpster fire where NIL and Roosters run the show. So you're going to hear his name come up every single time there is a huge opening. And look, the easiest way to talk you down is that none of these other jobs that have come open after he won national championships did he even sniff. He knows he is very well taken care of at Clemson and he can do what he wants here. So he is not going to go to Texas A&M and have to deal with all the shit he has to deal with there. From boosters to the NIL collectives. I mean, honestly, that is the easiest way to talk you off the ledge. I mean,
Not to mention, not to mention Dabo's buyout was like $65 million that they'd have to come up with on top of all that buyout money they're paying to get rid of Jimbo and that staff, which is I think upwards of 150 million. So
yeah,
just tack on another 65 million to that just to get Dabo over there, and we're already over 200 million, and you hadn't even started paying Dabo yet.
yeah. Now on the Jimbo Fisher side of things, I would love a job where someone would pay me $26,000 a day to not work.
Must be nice, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Michael gets in and says exactly the reason that he is not going. Dow is Clemson. He has, he took over a, program that was decent at best and turned them into a national power. And look, I understand that, we are having a down year this year, but this Clemson team, if you know anything about football and have watched the last few games, you have seen the reasons why this is such a dangerous team. And next year they are going to, be a contender for the expanded playoff. And look, I can't remember which player it was that was asked about it, but they said that Dow is treating this last, 4 game stretch like the playoffs. Because, he said that next year the expanded playoffs, they're going to have to win 3 or 4 games. And so he is treating this stretch this season and they have no chance in hell of getting there as preparation for next year when they fully expect to be back.
Yeah, Clemson is Dabo's baby. He's kind of built that thing from the ground up. And I know there was a good foundation laid by Tommy Bowden. I'm not discounting what he did, but Clemson is kind of Dabo's baby. He's got a lot of blood, sweat, and tears poured into that thing, and he doesn't butt heads with the administration, the president, the AD, and Dabo Sweeney. They're all kind of aligned in their thinking. They all have the same goals. They all have the same objectives, and it's not going to be like that at Texas A&M or a lot of other schools. There'd be a lot of friction, a lot of butting of the heads, particularly with the way Dabo Sweeney likes to run his football program, right? He's always said he runs a developmental program. He's never made any bones about that. So um, he would not have it as well in some other places as he does at Clemson. I just don't see him ever leaving, to be honest. Maybe way down the road he ends up back at Alabama under some certain, way on down the road at some point. I don't think he's the guy that follows Nick Saban. I don't think Dabo. I think that's a no-win situation. And
Yeah,
Dabo,
I was gonna say he is way too smart.
nobody. I mean, who wants to walk into that, right? I mean, maybe at some point way down the line he ends up at Alabama just because that's home and stuff. But other than that, I don't see Dabo Sweeney going anywhere else. NFL, any other school, anywhere. I honestly I see him retiring at Clemson.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you know, every time someone brings up the Alabama job, I just shake my head because like you said, who is going to want to have to follow Nick Saban? And look, Dow, he looks young, but he is in his mid-50s. So Saban coaches say, 3 or 4 or even 5 more years, Dow is going to be close to 60 by the time Saban retires. And then you're talking, all right, he doesn't want to be the guy to follow Saban. So that is at least another 4 or 5 years. So, I think, the numbers just don't make sense for him going anywhere else either. I, he is well taken care of at Clemson. He loves it at Clemson. All 3 of his boys are Clemson, graduates, and one is currently on the team. Yeah, I just don't see any way that he does not retire at Clemson. I I could be wrong, and he could leave for, another job. But how many times have we heard Dad say that, you, the grass isn't always greener, and you have to bloom where you are planted? And I think, if he was to leave, he, would find himself in a world of trouble.
Yeah, it kind of pushed back against some of the things he's always preached, no doubt about it. But I'm like you. I think Dabo Sweeney probably retires at Clemson again. I could see a scenario or two down the road. Maybe he goes back to Alabama, way down the road. But I I don't know that that's even going to happen. The Clemson is kind of his baby. He's built that thing, blood, sweat, tears, and I know Alabama's home, but he's been at Clemson, since the late '90s now, right? He's been there well over 20 years. His kids grew up in Clemson. To them, Clemson's home. So Clemson might be more home now than Alabama is, to be honest. I just don't know, man. I really lean towards thinking he finishes his career at Clemson right there where he built his program his way. I just don't know that I see him going somewhere and trying to take over something somebody else built.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. He has said many times that he has lived in Clemson now longer than he ever did in Alabama. And the thing is, I think, fans like to think, that coaches and players are loyal to their school more than they really are. I mean, yeah, he grew up an Alabama fan and played for them, but, he'd be the first to tell you that, home is not, where you went to school or where, won a championship or stuff. I mean, home is where you have, land to yourself and have roots. And I just don't see him doing it.
100% agree. I'm on board with you. I think I think he's a Clemson lifer.
Yeah. All right. So we are officially, putting this to bed.
I
That
think we talked him off the ledge.
is good. All right. So, hard time. Did Chip perform up to all the hater standards last week? When he had lanes, he reduces just like Alpha. When he got hurt, he led the ACC in scrimmage yards. I mean, honestly, I thought he played a great game. He was still out rushed by Alpha in the game. I thought, he, he had that spark, right. And really, we heard a guy all day from the player interviews. They were asked, the difference in him last week. And I think it was Bo Collins said that, Shipley just looked angry last week. And he said, normally at practice, he is the guy that's like encouraging people and like, trying to help everyone out. And last week, he said he was just angry. He said he was fighting, and just, had something to prove. So I think that's great. Honestly, it doesn't change my opinion. I think, Alpha still has earned the right to go out there first. And, that is not going to change. I will say this, that Shipley was asked by our good friend Larry Williams, about his future plans. And honestly, he was very uncommitted on that.
Yeah, he was very non-committal. I've said it plenty of times. I think one of those backs is gone. I don't know which one. At least one of them. I can see both of them being gone. But yeah, I thought Shipley looked motivated Saturday. I guess I fall into that class of Shipley haters because I've kind of ragged on him the last few weeks. I thought he has looked
Yes,
very.
you have. Yes, you have.
I think he has played very uninspiring football. For a few
You
weeks.
know what? I'm tired. Could you just call yourself an idiot?
I guess part of that leads, it's probably stemmed to some frustration because that offensive line hasn't played well. And, a lot of times, you're only as good as the guys blocking in front of you. But, I'm still of the opinion that it should be Maffa 1A, Shipley 1B, and kind of what we saw Saturday. I think that's what suits this offense best. And yeah, sure, when there's running lanes, Shipley's going to be Shipley, man. Nobody's saying he can't play.
When they're running lanes, you can run through.
Yeah, I'm saying I've never said he can't play. I just thought he played. He looked uninspired there for a few weeks. I thought Muffa had a little stretch there where he looked uninspired. Um, I thought they just didn't look like the same dudes. And
Yeah.
again, maybe part of that's due to frustration. I get it because that offensive line was playing like ass. Let's be honest. But yeah, I thought Shipley did a lot of good things Saturday, man. He's a factor in the passing game. I like him much better in this. I like to call it, the 1A role and the 1B role because they're going to lean on both guys hard and one of them's going to play a little bit more than the other. I like Shipley much better in the 1B role and Maffa in that lead role.
Yeah, so I like, I think, for me, Alpha, he is not as up and down as Shipley is. To me, the emotion that Shipley has and he plays it can be his, best friend and also his worst enemy. Because, you see him get angry and get fired up. And it's like he comes out, in his first touch, he runs up the ass of his lineman instead of, showing the patience that Alpha has shown. So I think, that, Phil kind of brings that calming presence and demeanor to the position. And Shifley, honestly, if it can, piss him off a little bit, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, I do too. I think sometimes Shipley, as fiery as he gets, that can be a big positive for him at times. But I also think it leads to some frustrations at other times, and we've seen it boil over onto the field. The shouting match with C.J. Spiller when all he was doing was coaching the running back, telling him, he had he was hitting the wrong lane, and Shipley didn't want to take responsibility for that, right? He wanted to put it off on somebody else. I do think his emotions boil over sometimes. Yeah, he's always that close. No, I think, you know, I think Shipley brings a lot of value to the offense when he's healthy, when he's at his best, and when he's patient. We've seen a lot of times this year where he's running right into the back of one of his guys. I've seen several instances where he's not hitting the right hole, or it doesn't look like he's hitting the right hole anyways.
He
There
said.
there, and he's not going where it looks like the play is designed to go, and he's running into it back.
He said.
I just don't think he's played it as well at times this year as he did last year. And I see hard time saying he shouldn't lose his job due to injury. I don't think he lost his job due to injury. I think he lost his job. He lost his job because of what Moffa did against Notre Dame. I mean, that's a game that Will Shipley's not had even come close to having this year. Hadn't even sniffed a game like that.
Yeah, and Dad has said the guys that are injured, don't lose their starting jobs. So, for Shipley to lose his starting job, to me, says already out. But, Alpha has done in practice and that Notre Dame game.
I mean, if you want to cut right down to it, I think Moffa has been the more effective runner this year. I think he's averaging more yards per carry. If you start diving into a lot of the analytics, he's got better. A lot of his numbers are better than Shipley's. I think he's earned the opportunity to run out there first and kind of be that. Neither one of them are going to be what I would call a feature back because they're going to split carries. But I think Moffa has earned the opportunity to again be that 1A guy and let Shipley be the 1B guy. Kind of, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't want to call him a third down back because it's a bigger role than that. But I think he can excel in that kind of role, man, because he's a great pass catcher out of the backfield. You can line him up out there in the slot. You can do some things with him that you're not going to do with Moffa.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. SC Country, what's up? How are you? Good to have you tonight. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Let's see. He says, thank you guys for talking off the ledge. Go freaking Tigers. I'm off again. So,
Yeah, I thought we might have talked him down off the ledge.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. We are your Wednesday night psychotherapy, session if you need it. Or I mean, maybe just your psycho session.
We're always available for weekly psychiatric sessions.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah, you can even come play in the padded room that we have.
You can come join me in there.
That's right. That's right. That's where the wife has to stick you.
I'm only out now because she's not home.
All right. Yes, sir. All right. So what record gets us? Oh, so we're going ahead and jumping ahead to next year. All right. So let's think. All right. I think here's the thing with this new playoff. All right. So your conference champion is getting a shot. And then, I think, it's just going, ahead of the rankings, for those final spots. So, yeah, this is kind of interesting right here.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the 12-team playoff. If you're going to get a bunch of rematches, if it was in effect this year, man, you're already looking at Alabama and Georgia already going to play, right? And that it would basically make that SEC championship game meaningless.
Yeah.
Both those
Yeah.
teams are going to get in.
Oregon and
I'm
Washington.
about to say the same thing for the Pac-12 championship game, Oregon, Washington.
Yeah. Ohio State, Michigan.
All those championship games are going to be meaningless now. But as far as what record gets you in, yeah, we're going to see a bunch of 2-loss teams in there. We're going to see you'll probably see some 3-loss teams scattered in there from time to time, but you're going to see some 2-loss teams in there for sure. And however many teams the ACC gets, it'll just depend. This year it'd probably be just the one.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to speculate because, next year is going to be the first year of this iteration. So I think, it is not only a little too early to speculate, it's just too hard. Because the committee is going to be the one that, has the ultimate decision. So it could be that, if you have a really tough schedule and you play teams that are really good, then maybe 3 losses get you in. I mean, it is just so hard to speculate this far in advance.
Yeah, I absolutely see some 3-loss teams getting in, just depending on what happens from time to time, maybe even more often than I'm thinking originally. But that's why I hate this thing, man. It's going to make a lot of these games at the end of the season meaningless. We're going to see rematch after rematch. I it's just going to take away from the regular season and the championship, the conference championship games, which
Yeah.
that's what I kind of like the 4-team. I could have lived with the 8-team. I don't think it would have hurt the regular season nearly as much as a 12 team's going to. I've always been a fan of the 4, liked it that way because I think I think pretty much every year it's kind of worked itself out, and the committee's mostly gotten it right. I think. Um, I'm not looking forward to this expansion at all.
No, I mean, the thing is, when you're looking at this expansion, the NCAA and CFP, and all these coaches that are talking about, players' health and stuff, you are adding, let's see, the first round's going to be on the campuses. Then your second round is going to be at the uh, other New Year's Six ball games that would not host the Final Four. You're going to have the Final Four and then the championship. So that is an extra 4 games right there on top of, 13 games if you make it to your championship. So you have just expanded, the potential for a team to play 17 games. I mean, that is in. Honestly, it's scary to think about. I mean,
That's what NFL teams play basically did in during the regular season. I mean that's the NFL regular season right there, pretty much.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought 8 would have been a good number. You could give all the conference champions a guaranteed spot, and then you have 2 at-larges. but the committee didn't call you up and ask me for my opinion.
Oh no, they wanted to get the most bang for their buck. Make no mistake, this is all about money. This is all about TV money, not what's best for the sport. It's because not what's best for the sport. And I get it. You know, you're not going to see all the rematches in the first rounds. They'll see teams to try to avoid those rematches. I don't care if there are no rematches in those playoffs. It's still going to make those conference championship games meaningless. You're going to have rivalry games, you know, at times that turn out to be meaningless when it comes to playoff implications like Ohio State, Michigan coming up. That game would absolutely be meaningless if we were in the 12-team playoff right now.
I hate it. I think, not only is it going to make life very difficult for some of these teams, think about the fans, okay? So you're talking about having to, not just, go to a single uh, little game or even two if you're in the championship. You could, you could potentially be looking at up to 4 additional games. And these games could be, and you're talking 1 year, you could go from the Rose Bowl to the Orange Bowl to where the hell they had the national championship. And this came at the agreement of all the AEDs and all the presidents who sit there and talk about how much they care about these student athletes and all that garbage. But you know what you did? You just squatted and took a huge dump on everything you ever said.
It's going to make it extremely difficult on the fans that go to all these games, right? That make the effort and put in the time and spend the money to go to every game every season. Man, you're going to have to really open your wallet now. No, the fans were not a part of this thought process at all. Not the traveling fan bases, anyways.
Yeah. Dan disagrees. He says he's looking forward to it.
Hey, I know I'm in the minority, and I'm just fine with that. I get it. Everybody wants to see more teams in the playoff. I don't. I don't think it's necessary. I think it takes away from the regular season. And I, if I want that, I'll watch the NFL on Sundays, man, because that's what you get with the NFL. College football is supposed to provide a different kind of experience. It's supposed to be different, and now we're just getting towards each and every year it more and more resembles the NFL.
Yeah. And John, you're exactly right. Yeah, the plans have changed already. I think, in the release that I received, it said that there is now a minimum of 8 teams that a league can have to be considered for an automatic spot. I completely agree. I mean, if you're going to go to 12 teams, you should just scrap the conference championships and go to 16 team playoff like the FCS. I mean, and just get, go ahead and do it.
It'll be interesting to see what the playoff looks like when we get through with all this realignment and when the break comes. Then that's when it's really going to resemble the NFL. Because I think we're headed for a break and we're going to have 2 big leagues and we'll probably have 8 from each conference and then the 2, they'll decide however they decide. And then you have the champion from each one play for the national title. That's when it'll really start to resemble the NFL.
Yeah, I am not sure what Droid 32F Andrew Creel means. I mean, how would you streamline the process of conference championship?
Because those are huge cash cows. Those
Yeah,
aren't going anywhere.
yeah, Yeah, I mean, the sponsorships and TV deals, that is why the uh, the Pac-4 now, is in such a shitty spot. It's because they can't, and they're trying to just gather teams up, as fast as they can, because they do not want to lose that a financial revenue that is coming from the TV deals.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't know that I see those conference championship games ever going away. Even let's say we do have a break and you end up with the Power Two, you're still going to have these other leagues. They're still going to have their conference championships, and there's going to be some type of conference championship game for those two big leagues. They're just cash cows, man. There's a reason why after the SEC kind of started that thing, everybody kind of followed along and fell in line because the SEC was making so much money, and so do these other leagues. They make a bunch of money off those games.
Absolutely. Before we kind of move along to the UNC game, I want to remind everyone to please click that subscribe button if you have not done so. And if you are subscribed, we'd like to thank you. You are a huge reason that we continue to, be able to do these shows and cover the Tigers the way y'all expect. So, I guess, let's kind of shift gears here. All right, there is a game on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, we kind of went off the rails here tonight, huh?
Yeah, I
Off the
mean,
beaten path here.
that's okay though. That's okay. But I mean, so let's kind of wrap up here with talking a little bit about this UNC game. We kind of discussed it in the opening, but I think the matchup that we are looking forward to the most, both of us, is this Nate Wiggins versus Tez Walker. I think I can't wait to see him. I want to see him out there jawing, and talking trash and, getting after Tez. I think, that this could be a game where, you're going to have to really, make sure that Nate, keeps it, a little bit closer to PG-13 than the R-rated side of things that we saw against Miami. I mean, he can get a little hot headed there, but I love it, and I think he is a dog, and I think that the defense and the crowd will feed off his energy, and so I I have a hard time seeing this defense not, show up and show out.
Yeah, I agree. Wiggins is definitely a guy that he gets emotional. We've seen it at times. Um, I think he's been pretty good at channeling that emotion though, for the most part. There's been a time or two here and there. Don't get me wrong, but I think overall, for the most part, he's done a very good job of channeling that emotion and channeling it into his play on the field. Um, that is like I said at the top, that is the matchup I am most looking forward to. Nate Wiggins and Tez Walker. But for me, it starts with that Clemson defensive line. You gotta make Drake May uncomfortable. You cannot let him, sit back and have time in that pocket. Those wide receivers are just too good. Um, and you've got to play disciplined. You got to keep him contained. Don't let him get out on the outside and ad lib, beat him, beat you with his legs or start scrambling around. And he's able to scramble around and buy time and create explosives that way. You got to play discipline, keep him inside the pocket, but at the same time, you got to get enough pressure on him where you're not letting him get comfortable.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I I think Dio said that he could be the uh, most effective quarterback that they have played this season when it comes to keeping his head up while scrambling and looking to still throw the 60 yards downfield instead of scrambling.
Yeah, he's always got his eyes down the field. He's always looking for the open man down there, looking to make something happen down the field. That's priority one, first and foremost. But he's also dangerous. He's dangerous running the football too. You just got to be very disciplined. Got to use your eyes, trust your eyes, and again, be disciplined.
Yeah, and on the offensive side, I think, as long as Clemson doesn't give the, ball to North Carolina and give them extra attempts, I think, what we have seen out of Cade Klubnik and this offensive line, like you said in the opening segment, I think that this is a defense on North Carolina side that has been suspect that can be gashed and have points thrown up on them in a hurry. So I think as long as this offense doesn't give the Tar Heels extra at bats, I think that they are starting to click and starting to find a rhythm that should play out well for them.
Yeah, 100%. You got to protect the football first and foremost. You cannot give that North Carolina offense extra possessions. And you got to try and avoid the critical turnover. The pick sixes and the fumbles that are returned for a touchdown or to the one or whatever. You need to win the turnover margin and limit the mistakes first and foremost. But this is a team Clemson should want to be, like they did against Notre Dame, like they did last week against Georgia Tech. This is another team Clemson should be able to run the ball on. North Carolina's allowing over 150 rushing yards per game, over 4 yards per carry. There's going to be opportunities there, but their pass defense it's not that much better. They give up a lot of yards there too. I think it is over 230 yards per game passing. So Clemson's going to have some opportunities if Cade Klubnik can do what he did Saturday. Not look panicked, not try to do too much, play within the system and kind of just manage the game, not turn the ball over. I think Clemson should be fine here.
Yeah, I mean, then you're looking at, having knocked off a top 15 Notre Dame, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that UNC is 20th now in the CFP.
I just had that thing pulled up too. I can't read. It was either 18th or 20th.
Yeah, so we are looking at, another huge statement for this, program. And yeah, and honestly, you could see Clemson jump into that top 25 ahead of, next week's game.
Yeah, it's a possibility. No 4-loss teams inside that top 25 yet, though. So we'll see. You got a 3-loss team, Kansas, sitting at number 25, 3-loss Oklahoma State at 23, and you got a few other 3-loss teams, spread in there. Obviously, LSU at 7-3, sitting at 15. Somebody make that make sense. I don't get it. No other.
SEC, SEC,
Of course. I do think Clemson's got. I think they've had the opportunity, or at least have a shot at climbing back into that top 25 if they can pull off a win this week and look good doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Well, we only have about 10 seconds left, so I want to know from you without giving away your score. All right, because that is coming on Friday at noon. We'll drop our predictions on ClemsonTigers.com. So be sure to head over there. But does Clemson get the win in Death Valley on Saturday? Yes or no?
Yes.
I agree. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, everyone that got in. We appreciate it more than you'll ever know. Be sure to check out the site over there at ClemsonTigers.com. That is where Jason has all his recruiting. And look, let me go ahead and kind of, give Jason a little props here. He has been absolutely killing it on the recruiting stuff. He has interviews up. He has nuggets about recruits that no one else has. He is the absolute best in the business. So I appreciate everything that he brings to the site, as I'm sure that y'all are. So be sure to head over there. We'll also have Inside the Valley coming up on Friday. So we'll get all that stuff rocking and rolling. And if you haven't done so, click that subscribe button. It's free and it guarantees a Clemson win. So thank you so much for joining the show. Jason, you got any last words?
Hit that subscribe button. Check us out on ClemsonTigers.com.
I like it. For Jason, I am Zach. We'll be back with you Sunday night for the Sunday reset. Have a great weekend and go Tigers.